Okay, so this is part 2 of the Shiur. We thank all the sponsors. If you want to know who the sponsors were, listen to the first Shiur. Now we're going to talk about another topic. We're still going to talk about the ultimate fate of Eisav. Now I want to talk about who killed Eisav. I want to talk about who killed Eisav. And I want to dovetail what we spoke about last week. Last week we spoke about a contradiction in the Vilna Gaon. All the years we said over, the Vilna Gaon teaches that Mashiach ben Yosef will conquer and redeem us from Galus Edom, Galus Eisav, will take us out of the Galus of the Shar, and Mashiach ben David will take us out of Galus Yishmael. Last week we saw some comments of the Vilna Gaon that says, no, Mashiach ben David will take us out of Galus Eisav, Galus Edom. So we had different possibilities that we mentioned. We said that it depends which nation stands last, or maybe when Yaakov Avinu switched his hands, he gave each one the ability to overcome each one. I want to share with you something out of this world, and I think this will put some type of grand finale, some kind cherry on top of this topic we've been discussing pretty much for the whole Sefer Bereshis. We know that the antidote of Eisav is Yosef, right? The Navi Ovadia says, and we read it in the beginning of the first year, that the house of Yaakov is fire, the house of Yosef is a flame, and the house of Eisav is straw. Yosef is called Sitnoi Shel Eisav. Yeah. In fact, there's an amazing teaching of the Trumas Hadeshen. When in this week's parsha, when Yaakov Avinu discovers that Yosef is still alive, look at number 17. Vayomer Yisrael, Rav Oid Yosef B'ni Chai. Yaakov says, Rav Oid Yosef B'ni Chai. This is a very difficult pasuk. Rashi is very troubled on this pasuk. Rashi says it means, Rav, there's a lot of joy in store for me. Oid Yosef B'ni Chai. My son is still alive. However, the Trumas Hadeshen Arishon says, Rav, there's only one Rav in the whole Torah. Who's the only Rav in the Torah? Eisav. Eisav's the only rabbi in the Torah. There's only one Rav in the Torah. Eisav. V'Rav Ya'avoid Sa'ir. So when Yaakov Avinu discovers that Yosef's still alive, Vayomer Yisrael, Rav! He's talking to Yosef. He's talking to Eisav. Hey, Rav! Watch out. Oid Yosef b'nei Chai. Yosef's still alive. He's going to get you. You hear that pshat? Vayomer Yisrael. Rav! He's talking to Eisav. Rav! Oid Yosef b'nei Chai. Who killed Eisav? The Biurei Mahari. That's Rabbi Yisrael Isserlin, the Baal Trumas Hadeshen, Rishon. Okay. Who killed Eisav? So we said, what do you mean who killed Eisav? We saw in the first year, Pirkei Rabbi Elazar, Targum Yonasan ben Uziel, Chushem. No, not at all. First of all, how does that make sense that Chushem killed him? Chushem is from Yosef? He's from Shevet Dan. I thought Yosef is the antidote to Eisav. What's Dan do? Where did Dan come in? How did Dan get in here? It was done before Yosef could get in there. So you say, well, Dan was Yehi Dan Nachash, and Eisav was Ish Nachshirchain, the Targum says. He was also a man with a snake. Eisav had a snake tattoo on his thigh. So maybe you needed a snake to get a snake. But how does that fit in with the idea that Yosef is Sitnoi Shel Eisav? Furthermore, don't we have a tradition? Ein Eisav Noifel Ella Biyad Banav Shel Rachel. Isn't there such a principle? You ever hear that? That Eisav will only fall into the descendants of Rachel? Comes the Medrash. Look at this Medrash. Amar Rabbi Shua ben Levi. Mesoires Agada Yehuda Harag es Eisav. Yehuda killed Eisav. What happened? When Yitzchak Avinu died. When Yitzchak Avinu died, and Eisav and Yaakov and the Shvatim went to bury him. By the way, this is when Yosef's in Mitzrayim, and Eisav and Yaakov buried him, and they were all in the Maras HaMachpelah, they were sitting and crying, and Yaakov Avinu stepped away for a moment, and Eisav said, now's my chance to get him, and Eisav was like sneaking up on Yaakov to kill him from behind, and Yehuda got wind that Eisav was about to kill Yaakov Avinu. Yehuda says, I got to save my father's life. Yehuda killed Eisav, and he killed him by the neck. That's why Yaakov gives him the bracha, Yadcha be'oiref oyevecha. Why the neck? Now it's very interesting. Why did he kill him on the neck? Says the Medrash, because Eisav looked like Yaakov, and it wouldn't have been respectful to kill Eisav from his face, so Yehuda killed him from the neck. So what in the world is going on over here? We learned the Gemara in Saita, the Gemara in Saita, Pirkei Rebbe Elazar, Targum Yonasan ben Uziel, Chushim ben Dan killed Eisav, and the Medrash Shocher Tov says Yehuda killed Eisav. Now, Bechlal, let's just put into parentheses, the Medrash Shocher Tov says Yehuda killed Eisav well earlier in the times when Yitzchak died, not when Yaakov died. But let's put aside that question for a bit. You know who asked this question? Tosfos. Tosfos in Gittin, of all places, Tosfos asks in number 20, there's a Yushalmi that the Romans made a decree against Shevet Yehuda because there's a tradition, Yehuda killed Eisav. We learned this from the Pasuk, Yadcha ba'oiref oyevecha. I asked Tosfos, the Gemara in Soita says on Daf Yud Gimel, Chushim killed him. Says Tosfos, Shema! Loi meis ba'oisahaka. Maybe he didn't die when Chushim hit it. Ad she'amalav Yehuda Harga, and Yehuda came and he knocked him out.
Both of them together.
The two of them killed him. Now Tosfos learns first Chushim, and then Yehuda.
Or maybe Chushim hit him, but it didn't.
First Chushim hit him. I mean, he's deaf, so maybe there's a sound that killing someone makes. He didn't.
Much later. Right.
Well, yeah, but that's not what Tosfos says. Tosfos says first Chushim hit him, and then Yehuda came along and he hit him. We have a tradition. Yehuda knocked out Eisav. Now, the Mefarshim, we're going to come to the Chidah soon. The Ha'aretz v'Tikunim on the Medrash, Shochetov says, what? Look in the Yalkut Shimoni. The Yalkut Shimoni brings that Chushim killed Eisav, and then Ista Amri, Yehuda killed Eisav when Yitzchak died. So ask the Mefarshim, why is Tosfos saying that first Chushim came, and then Yehuda came and knocked him out completely? In the Medrash Yalkut Shimoni, you see these are two conflicting opinions. Because first it brings the opinion that Chushim killed, and then it brings the opinion that Yehuda did it. That means they argue with each other. Furthermore, it's a completely different time. It's the opposite time. Yehuda killed him by the death of Yitzchak, and Chushim killed him by the death of Yaakov. By the way, the Roy Keach says also, Chushim and Yehuda, look at number 24, they both killed him together. Just also an aside, interesting thing. How do you get into Maras HaMachpelah? Like, who's buried in the Maras HaMachpelah? The Imrei Shammai says something very interesting, that the Rabbeinu Gershon Baba Basra says, Avraham looked like Adam HaRishon. The Gemara Baba Metzia on Daf Pei Zayin says, Yitzchak looked like Avraham. Yaakov, the Gemara says in Baba Basra, looked like Adam HaRishon. And Eisav, we saw from the Medrash, looked like Yaakov. So in order to get in, you got to look like Adam. There's a guy there's a bouncer in the front. He checks you out, he takes a picture, he matches it up to Adam. If you look like Adam, you get in. If you don't look like Adam, Har Hazesim, Har Menuchais, there are other options available, but not Chevron. Okay, but this is something very interesting. Marv Rabbi Sai, we're learning now, according to Tosfos, Chushim ben Dan gave him the first punch. Yehuda knocked him out completely. Yehuda knocked him out completely. Now, until today we were always saying that Mashiach ben David only has koyach against Yishmael. Last week, And until then, we were saying Mashiach ben Yosef only has koyach against Eisav. Last week we said no, Yosef has koyach against Yishmael also. He has the samach and the pei. Today we're taking it both ways as well. Apparently, the same way David was going to knock out Yishmael, apparently there's a tradition he's going to knock out Eisav also. In other words, it seems like whether it's because Yaakov switched his hands and he gave both the power of both, or it could be Yosef is a starting pitcher and Yehuda is the closer. He's the closer against both. He gets the final 3 outs, whatever you want to call it. Again, lahavdil elef. I don't even know what a closer is. Just somebody once told me. Okay, so, but okay, so I think the point that I'm trying to bring out is that Rabbi Feiner maybe told me, but the point I'm trying to bring out is the same way last week we showed that Mashiach ben Yosef has a koyach against Yishmael also. Mashiach ben David, Yehuda, seems to have a koyach against Eisav as well. It's amazing. The Chidah in Parshas Vayigash, if you look at number 28, the Chidah brings from the Reish Ches Aleph, and there's a very chashuv sefer that mistakenly thought that that's Reb Chaim Vital. It's not. It's Reb Chaim Abulafia in the Sefer Eitz Chaim. He brings that, what's the pshat? Did Yosef, who killed Eisav? Did Chushim kill Eisav, or did Yehuda? Says Reb Chaim Abulafia, Debainon shtei koichos. We need 2 powers, Yehuda and Yosef. So the Chidah asks, who revealed the secret to him that you need 2 powers? Why in the world would you need 2 powers against Yosef, against Eisav? Where does this come from that you need 2 powers against Eisav? Furthermore, even if you need 2 powers, don't you need Yosef and Yehuda? Since when is done one of those powers? Why does Dun's efforts make any difference? Don't you need at least Yosef? Don't Chazal say that Ein Eisav nimsarm ela biyad baneh shel Rachel? Now, regarding that point, you could say that Dun is good enough, because Dun is considered like baneh shel Rachel, right? Because Rachel gave Bilhah to Yaakov, and she said, "Ulai yibanim mimena." So maybe Dun qualifies as baneh shel Rachel. But still, the Chidah is very unhappy with this answer. Who revealed to Reb Chaim Abulafia that you need 2 forces to knock out Eisav? Where does this come from? So the Sefer Ketz Hayamin suggests that, where does this come from? That it comes from the following idea. It's not mistaber that Mashiach ben David only is there against Yishmael, and he does nothing against Eisav. He has to have some role against Eisav, so he might not start. He's not the starter against Eisav, but he's the closer against Eisav. Now, you ready for this? We're already in Chodesh Teves, and even though it's in Ibriyar, but we have Teves, Shvat, Adar. We're almost at Purim. So what does Zeresh say? Zeresh says, Im mizera hayudim Mordechai asher hachi loisa lin pa'al lefanav loisucha lo. Listen carefully to these words. Zeresh says, if Mordechai is from Yehudim, he's from Yehuda, and you started falling, he's going to knock you out. So there's a tshuva, the Amud De'ar. The Amud De'ar is a wondrous sefer from Rabbi Chiel Heller. Rabbi Chiel Heller signs every tshuva ha'olav. One of the reasons he signs every tshuva, the insulted one, is his mother was once accused of a terrible crime, and she bore the insult, and in that marriage she was zocheh to have children who are G'dolei Olam. The Amud De'ar says, why did Zerah say that if Mordechai is from Shevet Yehuda, he would knock out Eisav? Isn't Eisav only knocked out by the Zera Shel Rachel? So what do you mean, Mizera HaYehudim? Mordechai will only be able to knock him out if he's from Rachel. What did she mean, Mizera HaYehudim? Yeah, but she says, Mizera HaYehudim, Mordechai. Yeah, but why is she? Of what relevance? Yehudim is not going to do anything. That's not what she said. She said, "Mizera ha-Yehudim." So, "Mizera ha-Yehudim," what do you mean? He's from Eisav. That's why she says, "Mizera ha-Yehudim Mordechai asher hachiloisa." If he already started to fall, says Amudayar, the historic role of Yehuda is Yehuda knocks out Eisav after Yosef gives the initial punch. Once Yosef starts the fight, Eisav comes and knocks him out completely. That's the Yehuda. Very good. You're listening. Yehuda comes and knocks him out completely. In other words, we see from the words of Zeresh, again, the idea of Tosfos, that Yehuda is given the role of knockout punch, not only against Yishmael, but against Eisav once Yosef starts it up. A few months ago, in Chodesh Cheshvan, we quoted the pasuk. Look at number 26. Zeresh said, "Mizera ha-Yehuda Mordechai." She said, if he's from a different shevet, you'll prevail. But if he's from Binyamin, Ephraim, or Menashe, you will not be able to prevail. D'chsiv lifnei Ephraim uBinyamin uMenashe. So if you remember, many months ago, we learned from the Bnei Yissaschar, why does the pasuk emphasize Ephraim, Binyamin, and Menashe? It refers to the chinuch of Bayis Rishon, Bayis Sheni, and Bayis Shlishi. Bayis Rishon was inaugurated in Tishrei, Bayis Sheni in Chodesh Binyamin, and Bayis Shlishi in Chodesh Menashe, in Cheshvan. But says Amudayar like this: historically, if you want to know who fights Amalek, there were 3 times. The first time was Yehoshua ben Nun. That's why it says Ephraim. The second time was Shaul from Binyamin. And the third time, Shevet Menashe joined up with David. So therefore, the pasuk says, Lifnei Ephraim, against Eisav. First comes Ephraim, b'mei Yehoshua. Then comes Binyamin in the times of Shaul. Then comes Menashe in the times of David. And then David will come and give the final knockout punch to Amalek, to Eisav. The bottom line is, historically, even though for many, many months and years we learned that the job of Mashiach ben David is Keneged, Galus, Edom, and Keneged Eisav. Eisav is the Shar, and Yosef is the Shar. And the job of Mashiach ben David is against Yishmael. For many years we said that. The job of Mashiach ben David is against Yishmael. But there's a particular job that Yehuda has, that he gives the knockout punch to Eisav as well. The job of Yehuda, Yosef comes, he gives the first punch. He does the chasing, the Amudayar says. He does something called Nisa. He chases him down, and Yehuda comes and he gives the final knockout punch. So this might be another answer we asked on the Vilna Gaon. Is the job of Mashiach ben David against Yishmael, or is it against Eisav? The answer is both. Mashiach ben David has a special kayach, it being a chamar against the galus of the chamar. It also has a special kayach to knock out Eisav. Comes a chidah, and the chidah says that in his view, it's not a question that Yehuda and Chushim knock out Eisav, even though Yosef is supposed to be the one who knocks out Eisav, because ultimately, under whose domain was Chushim and Yehuda? They were under Yosef's domain. Yosef left Mitzrayim. He's the Melech. He's presiding over the funeral. It doesn't matter Chushim knocked him out or Yehuda knocked him out. They both were the working on behalf of Yosef. So either way, it's considered like Yosef killed Eisav. So according to the Chidah, we don't really have a proof that Yehuda or David has any kayach whatsoever against Eisav. Because in his view, it's not Yehuda at all that's knocking out Eisav. It's Yosef HaTzadik is the general. The fact that one soldier or 2 soldiers who are not from Yosef knocked out Eisav doesn't indicate that someone other than Yosef can knock out Eisav. And the Chidah even says the proof to this is the fact that according to the Medrash Shochar Tov, that Yehuda killed Eisav in the times when Yitzchak died, and Yosef wasn't even there. But he says it's okay because Binyamin was there, and Binyamin is also Zarai Shel Rachel. Two more things, and we'll conclude. This will wrap up the series. Remember, we learned that there's a combination, a lethal combination, a devastating combination, that if Eisav and Yishmael ever got together, they would destroy the world. And over the years, many people have asked, okay, Eisav married Yishmael's daughter, so they got together. So why didn't Eisav destroy the world? So the Gemara says it's like when the male of Yasan married the female of Yasan. The Gemara says they'll destroy the world because they're going to produce, monstrous children. So it says God killed the female and he castrated the male. Female's dead, male is castrated, not going to be any progeny. Says the Gra in his commentary to Safra Tzniusa, likewise, God killed the female and he castrated the male. That's why when Eisav went to marry the daughter of Yishmael, before the chasana, who died? Yishmael died. So even though technically, Kalei Seir V'Chaisnai, the father-in-law of Eisav is Yishmael, but he was not alive. Eisav never married Yishmael's daughter when Yishmael was alive. Yishmael died before the chasana. That's why it says, Vayikach Eisav es basmas bas Yishmael achois nevayos. What do you mean the sister of Nevayos? Who cares whose sister she is? Because Nevayos married her off. So the same way God killed the female of Yasan, God killed Yishmael. No, and how did he castrate Eisav? He castrated Eisav. Because when Eisav came to meet, this, I never knew this because it's a page down in the Quran, the Safra Tzniusa. When Eisav came to meet Yaakov Avinu, instead of biting him, he kissed him. That's a man? Come on. Eisav was coming for the kill. Eisav was coming to the kill. Hashem was Masaris Eisav. How do we know? Vayishakehu, says the Gaon. So Yishmael, Hashem killed, and Eisav, Hashem was Masaris. And one last curveball. The opinion of the Ibn Ezra. The Ibn Ezra says, this is a final Maramakoim, on Bereshis Parak Zayin, that many people think today we're dealing with, and to listen to this, Yishmaelim. There are no Yishmaelim today. Very, very few. Ein bohem mishu mizar Yishmaelim. Kiyim misei ma'at. The rest of them, they're all from Eisav. They're all from Eisav. Very, very few Yishmaelim today, Ibn Ezra says. So obviously we're dealing with a big mix. Mashiach ben Yosef has a few jobs. He's going to deal with both. He has the Samach, he has the Pei. Mashiach ben David is against Yishmael. He's also the closer against Eisav. And Be'ezus Hashem, we should see the fulfillment of Kalei, Seir, V'Chaisnai, and we should be Zocheh to see Mashiach ben Yosef or Mashiach ben David, B'mher v'yameinu, Amen. Shkayach.
At the end of the day, did somebody knock off Eisav's head?
Did someone knock off his head? It wasn't me.
It rolled off.
I didn't do it.
What?
He is, but Zeresh said, Im Mizera Hayudim, if he's from Yehuda. What do you mean if he's from Yehuda? Because she knew if he's from Yehuda, he could knock him off. That's how he learns it. Amazing.
What did you say about Eisav's head? Was it?
The Medrash says it was knocked off.
By who?
You say.
Kushim.
Kushim, you said, did not knock it off. He just knocked his eyes out.
Apparently his head fell off, but he didn't die.
His head fell off and his eyes fell out.
Marav?
No, that one already.
You daven?
Yeah. Down also down.
You know, it says over there when by Amman when he was
So I'm going to go to Marav. Yeah.
when he was called to he says he tells there.
I didn't have a chance to sign it yet. I have it. Yeah? Okay. You want to take it or not yet?
You take it back and
Okay.
you slip it back and forth. You rub those little slippers, I'll take it, okay.
No, it's fine. What do you want?
You catching my heart down?
You want me to send? Want me to write it and scan it to you or no?
Scan the whole book.
Okay. Very successful. Yeah.
It was owned by him or something?
That's very right.
Yeah.
Working out. You're gonna be very excited. And I have a bandage here. I had an infection.